wanted to know which country visited the most other countries, so I went on a completely unnecessary deep dive that uncovered every single country's flight path. After realizing that Google and ChatGPT would be no help, I spent over 100 hours researching and documenting my journey. This is part 18 of ranking every country based on how many places it flies to directly. The remaining countries are the US, Canada, Morocco, Egypt, Ethiopia, Spain, France, UK, Italy, Switzerland, Austria, Czechia, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and China. Of the remaining countries, Czechia ranks 16th in population, just ahead of UAE, Switzerland, Austria, and Qatar. Yet it still manages to boast nearly 60 international destinations. The most interesting are the previously mentioned flights to Mongolia, as well as to Cuba, Senegal, Oman, and Cambodia. Absolute props to Morocco for making it this far. I think it acts as a large African hub, one because of its location, but two because of its wealth and development. It ranks 9th in Africa in Human Development Index and is the 6th largest economy. It flies to roughly half of the African continent, as well as 5 of the 6 continents in total. Another low population country, Austria gets to nearly 10 more destinations than the two aforementioned countries. This is partially aided by the fact that it gets to a ton of Asian destinations between East Asia and the Middle East. Saudi Arabia sports a very interesting mix of Asian, European, and African destinations that total up to 65 by my count. It flies to all 7 stands and goes to lesser travel destinations like Mali, Somalia, Eritrea, and Brunei. Our second to last North American country, Canada, has the luxury of having a ton of landmass. Because of this, you'll see airports in the west, like Vancouver, fly to a ton of Asian destinations, and airports in the east, like Montreal and Toronto, fly to a ton of European destinations. Oh, and they go to a ton of places in Central, South America, and the Caribbean, which helps the total count. Ethiopia, the 4th richest country in Africa, flies to nearly 70 destinations across 5 continents, but does it in the weirdest way possible. It basically only has 1 airport. Technically, it has 22 airports, but Addis Ababa is the only one that flies out of the country. As expected, China has tons and tons of destinations. It visits all the stands, around 20 countries in Europe, the vast majority of Asia, and much, much more. The sole remaining country in Africa is Egypt. It has a healthy list of destinations in its home continent of Africa, but also goes to a ton of places in Asia and Europe. Its uncommon destinations include South Sudan, Eritrea, Yemen, and Libya. Switzerland visits 35 non-European destinations that stretch from Brazil to Japan to Mauritius. As expected, they also visit nearly every country in Europe as well. Our last country today is Belgium. Roughly 24 African destinations and 15 plus flights around Asia, coupled with a billion flights around Europe, lands Belgium just outside the top 10. That leaves us with the US, Spain, France, UK, Netherlands, Germany, Italy, Turkey, Qatar, and UAE for the finale in part 19.